Yeah, this is breaking news coming from Independence TV 7. Faces of Taliban in Nigeria has been revealed. You know, the Boko Haramists are fighting against Western education, and one wonders how a sincere government will grant the supposedly repentant terrorist amnesty and still send them to Europe to acquire the same Western education that they are against. The worst deception ever. Can you see that it is the worst deception? Boko Haram, which simply means Western education is prohibited in the north. They know that believing, in the Western education, especially the citizens of the north, is that they will know their left from their right, and it's a blasphemy. And this is what they call deception. Deceiving the people of the northern part of the country. And now they are being sent abroad to, study and acquire Western education. When a friend told me that he saw an Islamic flag flanked with Nigerian flag in the office of National Emergency Management Agency NEMA, Abuja, I became convinced that Nigeria's existence has left the era of secularity tolerance. The blind eyes of believing that Nigeria invisibly is all about freedom philosophy tends to be extinguished by religious supremacy, and gradually the time bomb is fast ticking, as we have witnessed in Afghanistan conquest of 15 August 2021. Gradually, Islamic flag is gaining popularity even in our government offices, and yet we have eyes but seem to be blind and not seen. When my good friend Somi Uranta bluntly stated that Nigeria does not require any form of whitewashing, but rather to profess the truth about our woeful failing exactly as it is, especially in order to discourage our potentials and pretentious self-delusion. I also realized that the only truth in Nigeria is falsehood. For any nation, organization, or individual whose yesterday is even in the slightest way perceived to be better than today, such an individual, organization, or nation is in a dead strait. It is worst form of retrogressive to contemplate the possibility of today being better than tomorrow, and unfortunately that is Nigeria for you. I recently read that the US, which is in the United States, contingent went to the Tokyo Olympics with over 100 athletes and 11 officials, but Nigeria went with just 22 athletes and 60 officials. Can this country be a secularism where cows are valued over and above the sanctity of human lives even in the 21st century? Can this country be a secularism where the ruling class see themselves as an army of occupation? P.W. Botha, former apartheid South African leader, must be right when he declared that black people cannot rule themselves because they don't have the brain and mental capacity to govern a society. Give them guns, they will kill themselves. Give them power, they will steal all the government money. Give them independence and democracy, they will use it to promote religion, tribalism, ethnicity, bigotry, hatred, killings, and war. Our erstwhile colonial masters, as bad as they were, with all the atrocities they committed against us, were still far better than these oaths of neo-colonialists that took over from them. Well, the present administration of Buhari has been nepotistic against, the citizens of the country. Well, the brights were malevolent and towards us, but our own supposed brothers of the same color, same ancestry, are very malevolent, cold-blooded, cold-hearted, and hatred and totally unfeeling of the plight of their own people. It is doubtfully whether a restructured Nigeria will be any better, but my doubts are predicated on the premise that it is these same heartless blood-sucking lords with our looted patrimony and prioritize that will still call the shots. Should the country be restructured or divided? That's the question. Nigerian case is rather very pathetic and seemingly irreparable. It was a great deceive to our nation for a Buhari to be marketed as a born-again Democrat. A leopard cannot be easily scrubbed off its evolutionary heritage. We are already a full-fledged militocracy, especially from the capital outflow of policies direction from APC-led government administration. History has a way of repeating itself, but unfortunately in Nigeria we have never learned from the same history, and hence, like a people under certain kind of spell, we are always attracted to donks and dungeons of the caliphate's manipulations. Can we forget in a hurry that the great Zik of Africa played a second fiddle to Tafawa Balewa on the First Republic despite all his academic laurels? Our great erudite and scholarly Dr. Alex Ekwueme also disputed and deputized for a grade 2 teacher in the Second Republic. I won't forget our indefatigable, which is the biggest English ever used, for a elder statesman. Well, Pa Awolowo, who helped a northern general, Yakubu Gowon, to starve the Biafran during the Civil War. The same scenario was played by the late Oba Eredua of Benin, whose advice to General Gowon truncated the Buri Accord, and the result was the death of millions of Nigeria. Comparing this to the present date and present administration of Buhari has deemed it fit to make sure that he jeopardizes his own reputation. His reputation is what is at stake. Forget about the life and livelihood of the Nigerians and publicity. The Buhari administration is being weighted at the end of the revelation of his tenure. Let's see how it unfolds. Well, I won't forget our indefatigable elder statesman Pa Awolowo, who helped a northern general Yakubu Gowon to starve the Biafran. The southern leaders have always been the willing tool for the caliphate manipulations against their own people. Our servitude has been very long coming. The caliphate knows the best way to cow our southern elites and politicians. Just a little opportunity given to our so-called elites, they are always ready to pledge their birthright and that of their entire race, which is selling their birthright for just mere porridge. Have you wondered why Boko Haramists, ISWAP, Miyetti Allah and Fulani herdsmen are wielding AK-47 everywhere in the country without being tagged as terrorist groups? Right, that's the question. Have you wondered? Well, who are those who ran to Aso Rock demanding for the prosecution of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB leaders, and outright declaration of IPOB as a terrorist group? Same southern governors and politicians. Yes, those are the ones backbiting and chopping and releasing blasphemy against the people of the indigenous people of Biafra. And the northern elites and the northern group are all in one accord despite the evil deed being done in their region. Don't get drifted. I started this piece of this advice from the perspective of Afghanistan collapse in the hands of the Taliban and the whole scene of Islamic State of all Afghanistan. My problem is not about the conquest but the fanfare in releasing of all the terrorists in prison. Beyond the release, it was the boastful vocals that Islam will be entrenched globally. That utterance should not be ambiguous to decode, especially with the gathering of many terrorist groups in NW, NC and NE. It is pointer for Nigerians to be careful and never lose sight of such global vaunting. We are already encircled and FCT is a few kilometers away from the graves of the terrorists. The entire country is already surrounded with Fulani herdsmen, and if the Southerners are not serious, Afghanistan case study will just be a few years ahead. Una dey hear word. Hope you have heard what has been read so far. Well, I leave you in the hands. I want you to puzzle this. A word is enough for the wise. If Southerners are sleeping and so gullible, let them wake up as it is. The right time is now.